What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Wave. Today we're going to be covering our game threes as they have finally commenced. And let's go ahead and get started. So the first game we have was Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. From what we saw, the first two games, it's just been pretty dominant from Oklahoma City. This game, Minnesota definitely showed that they came to wake up. If we look at the box score, we saw that Chet, Williams, and Shea had double digits, and then you had AJ Mitchell off the bench as well, and Dylan Jones with double digits. But a really inefficient night from a lot of guys out there. Shea with 14 on 4 for 13, so that's just really bad shooting out there. He did have 6 assists with his 4 turnovers, so kind of not really a strong suit on the offensive side of the floor. Jalen Williams, he got 13, not the worst stat line, but a little inefficient as well. And the shots just were not falling for Oklahoma City. It's very obvious. They shot 40% from the field, 31.8% from the 3-point line. They were getting to the free throw line at a decent rate, but you can tell that they were just getting out-muscled, outworked out there. 14 turnovers, 20 fouls. Not the recipe for success, especially if you're not playing in defense. And that's kind of what the story was. Shots were falling for Minnesota and not falling for OKC, and that's how you get a lead so big. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Minnesota did out there. Julius Randle, he definitely had a comeback game. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that there's an appliance, so if you hear that, I apologize. You have Julius Randle. He had his bounce back game, his game 3 or game 2 where he got pulled. That raised a lot of eyebrows. He showed that it was, hey, look, I just had a bad game. Good players have bad games. It happens. He came back with 24, 9 for 15. He had 2 threes. No turnovers with 3 assists. It was a good game out there for him. McDaniels with 10, but just playing some good D, and his lineups that he was in was definitely outscoring and locking up, so that was good. Same with Rudy Gobert. He didn't really do too much offensively, but he did what he had to. I think that same sentiment can apply to Mike Conley. The man of the hour, the guy with the game high, is Anthony Edwards. He shot a masterclass 12 for 17. Perfect efficiency, not perfect efficiency, but he was super efficient. 5 threes. He had 4 turnovers, but that's okay. He had 6 assists, 9 rebounds. He was the man of the hour. Coming off the bench, of course, Naz Reid with 10. Alexander Walker with 12, Terrence Shannon Jr. with 15. The one thing about this is that a lot of players actually got to play, because once the game got to a certain point, we're going to take a look at some of the footage to see some of the key plays there. But once the game was out of reach, a lot of these guys started getting minutes, and yeah, it's definitely it was definitely a good showing for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They showed that the series is not officially over. But now let's see how Oklahoma City responds. Can Minnesota come back and win another game and make it competitive again? Who knows? Well, only time will tell. But let's go ahead and just jump right into the footage to see what was going on out there, and then we'll jump into our next game. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into the game. I felt where the game became insurmountable was definitely in the third quarter. After Lou Dort hit a big shot, pushed it to 52 for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's go ahead and take a look at Anthony Edwards. He's coming downhill. He's trying to break down his defender, use his feet. He's getting a trap thrown to him. That means there's 2 on the ball. But he's just so agile, he could take it himself. That is crazy. That is craziness. That's good basketball right there. That was good. That was some good footwork and all that. He just really cut through the whole lane. Let's see it again. We have Mike Conley coming down. Simple backdoor cut. He gets fouled because he gets pulled. Simple. They don't call it. Rudy Gobert comes to clean it up. So that was definitely a foul for Anthony Edwards, but they'll take the layup. This is the playoffs, so that shouldn't even really be a foul. So let's go. Pick and roll coming downhill, and then Edwards just rises up and knocks it down. He's really feeling it, and once he's getting in the groove like that, there's no stopping this guy. And it's just a constant run from Minnesota. They're just tacking on the points. Oklahoma City, they do decide to respond. Shea, kicks it out. Williams, they pass it around. Randall, recovers, slides his feet, but he does. I think they do some weird zone, like exactly. Yeah, even they have a miscommunication. It was like, yo, I'm staying in the corner. Why are you not sliding down? Like I'm in the corner. I'm one pass away. I'm not helping anyway. So they get the ball back. Randall, he has Hartenstein on him. He just simply just sidesteps and knocks the three down over his head. And Minnesota's on a tear. They're on a tear. They're just cooking up right now. This has to be at least 7 that they've scored with 2 points from Oklahoma City. They come back down. Nothing for OKC on that end of the floor. And the lead is just ballooning. Again, Randall, he's just in his bag right now. And he just gets to his spot, rises up above the arc in the free throw, and he's right there. He's good to go. That's his shot. Now let's go ahead and take a look. We have, I believe, I'm not too sure his name, but 21. He comes off a little curl action, swings it to Dort in the corner, who knocks it down. He's been hitting some big shots, and the lead is now under 40. But this game that little run has ballooned the lead, and I feel after this bucket, it might just be the game is officially over. And he's pulling from the target center. Look where he is. He's at the target center. There's 10 seconds in the shot clock. He's just really feeling it right now. And with that, he gives Minnesota 100 points, and it's the lead is, I think after this point, we saw when the Oklahoma City Thunder was doing their whole action and all that. But this is Minnesota. They came to play, and that was awesome, and that run really kind of sealed everything for them. And yeah. But with that, we're probably going to jump into the next game. Let's go ahead and see what's going on over in New York versus Indiana. All right. And the final game for Game 3s was the New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers. The Knicks are down 2-0, and they go into Indiana. And, of course, their backs are against the wall, and they played exactly how we expected them to play. They came out to win, especially in that second half. The first half, I won't lie, the second quarter, Indiana was showcasing that they had it. And it was a little nerve-wracking for Indiana. For New York, because Indiana came out on a tear in the second quarter. But New York came to hold it down, and it was a thriller, and it was definitely one of the most exciting matches we've had in this conference finals, besides Game 1. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we saw out there. So, one thing I want to point out in a victory for the Knicks, look how the balance of shots is distributed. You have Mikal Bridges with 18. You have Cat with 17. You have Brunson with 18. And then you have Anunoby with 9 or 10. He should be getting maybe 10, 11 more, one more shot. And look, 15, 16, 24, 23. Balanced attack of scoring. That is how you win games. It's not, look at all the other games where they lost. Brunson took like 27 shots, 30 shots. Like Cat took like 25 shots. We need a balanced attack out there. Everybody's got to be in rhythm. Everybody's got to feel the ball. Everybody's got to be able to touch it. And that's what played a key factor in the Knicks, especially in that second half. They were passing the ball. They were touching the ball. How many assists did they have? 13 versus Indiana's 9. No, I lied. 21. 13 to 21. They didn't really assist the ball too well. But what I will say is that there was an even distribution of shots and field goals between players on the field. And which is good. And we saw some players who hadn't made an appearance in a while, Shamet and Wright. Josh Hart, he played amazing. Those 10 rebounds, those were the loudest 10 rebounds ever. Like, he gave them a big 10 rebounds. And they even took him off the bench because, he just isn't, he's not, his offense, they need offense. And he's too, who is he really going to guard out there? Like Naismith, or he can't really guard those guys because they run a lot. They're not really in the paint trying to score like that. And he's like, he's like a tweener, wing guard guy, and he just guards out there, rebounds. He does what he has to do. He's a Swiss Army knife. And yeah, it just really came down to clutch time moments. Cat really had 24, the leading scorer in the game. And yeah, he did what he had to do, and he, some big shots, some big threes. He had 24 and 15. And yeah, he came to play. This is the formula for success, by the way, if New York ever wanted to know. The formula for success is to have some power coming off the bench, because they had, 2 and 8 make 10, 3 and 9 make 12, 10 and 12, 22. They had 22 bench points versus Indiana did have more than 22, but it gave the starters a little bit of pressure off of them. You know what I mean? So it's like if Brunson and Cat and Adenome and Bridges all have double digits, we just need 20 plus points from the bench, and the Knicks are going to win. Now let's take a look at Indiana. You had Pascal Siakam. He was the hero in Game 2. He had 17 on 7-14 shooting. Not the best efficiency. He didn't play the worst out there. Nesmith, he had that kind of ankle scare in the beginning of the game. He came back. He's okay. He's the hero in Game 1 and 2. They kind of contained him 2 for 8. Miles Turner, he's always going to get his buckets, 19 with 4 rebounds. His rebounds have been really short or small for what I remember him for. I'm not sure if that's just kind of the game plan they have going in there for him, but his rebounds have definitely declined, and he had got into some foul trouble as well. He had 5, almost fouling out of the game. Nembhard, not really too much out there. In fact, Nembhard, I want to speak on him because I'm not gonna lie. I don't know who often has this happen to them, but I confuse Nembhard and Naismith just because they're both guards on that team, and sometimes I say their names interchangeably by mistake. Nembhard, this game, he wasn't really effective. I saw a lot of standing around from him. There was a few plays where he was standing in the corner. He wasn't even ready for the ball. He got the ball and shot it, and it just looked kind of icky, and it was just so he wasn't really there tonight. 2 for 9 with 9 points, inefficient, 2 fouls. He really didn't do too well. And you have Tyrese Halliburton. He had 20 with 7 assists. He started off the game hot, and then they kind of closed it down towards the end. And then Obi Toppin, he was giving them some points. They threw some lobs. They were just doing a lot of things out there. Mathurin, he played really bad. He did not have a good night. He was getting into a lot of fouls. Even though he only had 1, he was getting into a lot of BS and just not playing too well. His foul was so loud that he didn't really get to play like that. Not really much. You have T.J. McConnell, who's great off the bench, but other than him and Obi Toppin, not really much. So those two and 3 make 7. Those 7 points were kind of, the Knicks won by 6. So that 7 difference on the bench definitely is a factor, but it really just comes down to clutch time, decision making. Indiana was brick from the 3-point line. They went 5 for 25, 44% from the field. They outshot the Knicks, but they really did not. They really didn't outshoot the Knicks. They just outshot them in terms of percent, and it was only by percent because they took 1 less shot. So it was a pretty even match, and New York really just came to execute. They made the series not even, but they made the series okay, just take it a game at a time. New York can definitely fight their way back into the series, and let's go ahead and take a look at that run. Let's see how they were able to close out that game. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what we saw in the game. And it was pretty obvious that we were going to come down to the final 4 minutes. This was a thriller, so let's go ahead. You have Halliburton. He's bringing the ball up. Knicks are up 4. They have a little pick and roll with Miles Turner. He rolls. It's covered. And Halliburton just gets to a spot by the arc, by the wing, and just, lets it go. So now it's a 2-point game. Knicks still up, so let's go ahead and see. A little dish off to Mikal Bridges from Josh Hart on a little action. Mikal Bridges tries to do a little Euro step through. It gets it blocked. And here comes, again, he had 10 rebounds. There's one of them. That was one of the loud ones. And he got a good offensive rebound. McBride had a chance to score, but it wasn't there. And now let's go ahead and take a look at what they do. We're down into 2 minutes. That was a weird highlight. I don't even think it was a highlight. They just showed it. It doesn't really explain what happens here. We'll just assume that there was a foul and they go to the free throw line. So now, 98-98, Jalen Brunson has the ball. That's who I expect to have the ball, either him or Cat. He literally just gets in. He's driving. So this is a great move. Look, he connects with that left. He's not chicken winging because he wasn't on him, but he's using that to create the leverage in space. He's going right, which is not his dominant hand. He's going right. He then connects with him with the hip, takes his 2 steps and floats it with the left fading right. That is a great move, and that was just a lot of touch right there. That was one of the clutchest baskets of the game. Let's go. We're down into 1 minute, less than, under 30 seconds. Miles Turner, he has a great look at 3. He lets it go, but it's just not enough. And of course, who? But who? And I know that was a little scary, especially the way his knee. But I could rest assured Josh Hart was okay, and he was able to get up and finish the game. But again, look who else but who? Josh Hart coming in to clean it up. And he looks hurt, and he was able to shake this off. But that was another rebound that he was about to grab with strength. Let's not harp on that. He was able to get up and get to the free throw line. Much respect for Josh Hart, and let's see him just finish off what he has to do, and we'll just go ahead and kind of get through it. He didn't really have too much points. He had 4 coming into the last 20 seconds. And then he's able to, he has 2 here. He gets his 2. Let's just wait on it to hurry up. Okay, boom. Indiana. They're down 4 with 20 seconds. Let's see what they decide to do. They call timeout. There's not really an action. This is the perfect play. I like the design. Brunson gets it. They have to foul. And then it becomes a free throw contest. Brunson, he knocks down his 2 free throws. Let's just go and skip through. He knocks down his 2 free throws. It's just textbook. It's just funny. Like, we had to watch that together. All right, so now it's a 4-point game. It's a 4-point game. They miss. They intentionally foul Hart, and this is how Hart gets his 8 points. He knocks down 2 clutch point free throws, and then the Knicks are able to just win the free throw contest and call it a match. Again, the Knicks are able to make it 2-1. Again, they have to just take it a game at a time, but this was definitely a master class out there. And let's go ahead and just look at that the Knicks lineup. That's the final score, 106-100. It came down to some clutch baskets and some clutch free throws, but the Knicks were able to get it done. I do want to go ahead and say, hey, look, notice how, the 2 games that they did win or they lost was because they weren't playing any defense. I got to give the Knicks their credit. They came in, they locked up, and they held them to 100 flat, which is, that's the key to their success. They beat the champions, the former champions like that, by holding them on the defensive end and making runs when it matters. But with that, man, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of The Wave. It's been a crazy playoff series, and we're at least going to have a Game 5, so I'll see you guys in the next one for Game 4, man. With that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Ciao. I'll see you guys later.